Hello and welcome to the Bright Light Show. I'm your host, Diane Sylvester, and I just want to welcome you to this particular episode, episode 4. And my guest today is Tamara, psychic to the stars. I've known
Okay.
Tamara for a really long time. And by the way, who am I? Yes, I used to have a hypnosis practice in the 90s, doing past life regression and energy healing. I've studied with a lot of people in both of these things. Also, I had a metaphysical store in a vortex of Ojai, California for 12 years, which was an experience. And I met during this wonderful experience so many incredible people. I mean, people that are like, in my mind, the bright lights. You know, when you watch The Matrix and you see the people that are in Zion, the people that are outside the Matrix, these are my friends. These are my friends. My friends are into this place of authenticity with spirit and reality. And now is the time, the age of Aquarius, where we're all waking up. It is the time, it is the wake up. And I gotta tell you that this particular lady, she used to come to my store, Soul Centered, and we became buds. We're about the same age. And I thought about, because I have a Hollywood background as well. I thought about, I really want to do a documentary on psychics. You know, The Secret came out. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go further. Let's talk about psychics. Let's talk about healers. Let's talk about intuition and energy healing and the things that I know are real, but most people are just, oh, that's foo-foo, you know, whatever, woo-woo, foo-foo. But this lady is incredible because a lot of us that have the gift of intuition, we ignore it. And this lady didn't have a choice. She has been in this field the entire time. She's had, like actors, you know, like psychics sometimes have to get a second job or a third job, sometimes because some people don't get it, or healers or massage therapists. But this lady has supported herself for 30 years as a professional psychic. Now, her story is very interesting, and I'm going to just introduce you to my friend, Tamara. And Tamara's a psychic, a medium, a clairvoyant, a clairaudient, and an empath. And I know that you guys might not understand what all these things mean. A medium means she can talk to the other side. Psychic, you probably get. Clairvoyant means she can see the future, she sees it. And clairaudient means she hears it. And empath means she feels what other people are feeling. She's done this just in this really wise way. I mean, she is a Sagittarian, and she can help you with love, finances, business, relationship, anything you'd like to know for yourself. She helps people from all different backgrounds. Her practice has been in Southern California all of this time. In fact, aren't you born in Southern California, Tamara?
Well,
No?
actually, I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, or Misery,
Ah,
in the Bible Belt. I had to
well,
leave there quickly.
talk about your birth, because
Yeah,
you are one of my near-death experience people.
yes,
So without
yes,
further
Diane.
ado,
Well,
Tamara.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored, and this is so much fun. And yes, when I was born ages ago, over 60 years ago, I did pass away, and my heart stopped beating. And just like in the movie Pulp Fiction, they took a huge giant needle and got my heart started again, and didn't think I'd ever be able to sit up, walk, or talk ever again. And I was going to be actually institutionalized. That was the thing. But I surprise. And I was in a little, what you would consider an incubator, but it was like a box of light, that because I was having seizures, which never has been a problem in my real life. So I was really sick, but I was born in December, came home from the hospital in February. And I feel like that is when my brain was reconfiguring. I feel like that was when I became psychic, intuitive, and possibly the mediumship. But I got to say, the mediumship, probably hit me stronger, 20 years ago. That wasn't my first thing that I did. But um, so I just feel like in my life that was the point of, I don't remember the near-death experience, but I do feel like, and I survived and my mother survived. She was sick too.
Hmm.
But I feel like that was a time when, like, remember in the 70s, you used to do past life regression. Let's take you back to your birth. And
I
I was
did.
like, no, no, thank you. Because I felt like if I did that, even as a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, I wouldn't come back. Like I'd pass away or something. It was like, I died right there. I don't want to become and, do the past life regression in this life. But I have a lot of past lives, and this is part of who I am. Like you said, I don't know any different. So it's part of who I am, and it's a joy. Yeah,
Well, tell me maybe your first time realizing that you were different.
different. Okay. Well, there's a few stories, but I was always sensitive, and I was the youngest of three, but also there were stepchildren and stuff. So kids can be kind of mean to kids, but I was always sensitive. So I would just take that in and be sensitive. But there was one time we were kind of an active family. I went camping with my family. I was probably about 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere in there. And we were in a big tent. I don't even know where we were, like Lake Nacimiento or something. We were in a big tent, all sleeping at night. And I couldn't sleep, which is another thing psychics have a thing with. I've always had sleep issues, but I couldn't sleep, and I kind of groggily opened my eyes, and I could see like a mummy walking by. I could see like, you know, ghosts, like literally ghosts and visions. And we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I was like trying to wake up my sister to tell her, and nobody would wake up. And it was so bizarre. I was oddly not afraid of them, but I'm like, there's a whole other world that goes on around us when we're sleeping. And
Wow.
yeah, it was kind of, I would say normally that would be frightening, but I just was like, okay, these visions of whoever these entities are not going to hurt me. And they were just walking through. It was kind of like, hey, you're awake. How you doing? And then they walked through the tent, and I was like, there's a lot going on out here. And I just rolled over, tried to go back to sleep. And my whole family woke up normally, in the morning, but I don't know. So I just feel like I just feel like there was like intuitions of, I knew I'd be helping people in my life. I knew I was good with one-on-one. I knew I had a lot of strong intuition, but I didn't know what it was called. So really in my teens, my two sisters who were older and I used to go and spend the day with sort of a mentor of mine. Her name was Jackie Bell in the San Fernando Valley. We spend the afternoon looking over astrology charts and pulling cards like all day. And I was like 13, 14, 15. And I'd walk out of there and look up at the sky on the sidewalk, and I'm like, I want to live in this world. I want to live in this world. Like, this is it for me. And so I didn't realize I was
So,
making a,
what I find interesting about your story is it seems like you were just kind of ushered along.
yeah,
And just
yeah.
the idea that at 13 and 14, you were given the exposure to esoteric, hidden, occult.
Oh, sure.
Hidden, right?
Yeah,
Literally means to occlude the light. So
yeah,
hide the light, occult.
yeah,
You were just like, here you go. Here you go.
yeah, yeah.
Take this.
But it was normal in with me and my older sisters. So in our household, and my parents are healers. My dad's a doctor, my mom was a nurse. I mean, everybody was in pretty much the medical field. So healing and that kind of thing. So I just at one point had started doing these readings, and as a teenager, it's been 30 years professionally, but as a teenager, just started pulling cards for people, doing tarot card readings. And my friends would call me eventually, and this actually happened, or maybe we should stop doing. We should stop drinking wine while we do these. Maybe you'd be more accurate. Like,
Are you more accurate, sober?
I don't drink anymore, but it was
Okay.
like, you're a teenager or 20 something, and it's like, drinking wine, let's pull cards and but it was like, I think you're really good. I wonder what would happen if, you really tried to do readings, and I want another reading. So that gave me a clue, like you said, ushered along. So I just was ushered along to the next thing and the next thing. I have a background in entertainment before this career. So I was like an executive assistant, worked at Warner Brothers, worked for Hoffman Travel, worked Paramount. I mean, just a lot of different studios. And at the very end of my career, in that field, I was back at Hoffman Travel working for, this is funny, working for, I was an assistant to somebody. We were placed at Warner Brothers, and I kept taking off. Like, I had a bottom floor desk with these bay windows on a beautiful movie set, and these famous people kept walking by. So I kept running out the door, and where is she? And it's like, well, Robert Redford just walked by. So it's
Oh, really?
like that's not going to happen in your life ever. So I got to
No,
go. I got to go see
I
it.
gotta go. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would.
I got to go. I'll be right back. So the Sagittarius, I'll be right back. Need anything? Make it like a little errand, and
Yeah.
and so things like that. But at that job, I started getting let go and laid off of these jobs because God had something else in mind for me. But also, entertainment can be fickle. A show ends, something ends, the
Right.
job ends. So I could tell the body language. So my boss, Cheryl, who I'm still friends with on Facebook, I have to talk to you. Come on in, have a seat. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. And so she, travel's changing. We don't need as much staff. It's paperless, and it's going the way of blah 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 and blah. It looked like this to me, blah blah blah. And I said, uh-huh. She goes, so I'm sorry, after this week we'll have to let you go. And I hope I can say this. You can bleep it out later. But I literally looked at her and I said, you know, I'm gonna go be a psychic.
Okay, I'm gonna need somebody's help with how to bleep that out. Okay,
Okay,
continue.
is that all right? No,
No,
probably
it's
not.
perfect. No, it's okay.
Is
I
that
know people. I know people who know people who know
and
people.
she so she literally went, what? Because they didn't know anything about that side of me, didn't know anything. I said, yeah, I'm going to work from home. I'm going to put up a website. And I didn't give any more information. I said, this is, I'm just going to do that. And that's literally what I did, literally.
Wow.
And
Again, ushered by spirit. And you just, but that's Sagittarians. I mean, for all you Sagittarians out there, you
yeah,
guys just go. Like, you're just like, you'll say what you think. You don't care. I mean, because Sagittarians and Gemini, this is just a little astro lesson.
yeah,
Um, I'm a Gemini, you're a Sag. I have
yes.
many Sagittarian friends or people with strong Sag. We are polar opposites. Whereas Gemini is the wordsmith, Sagittarian is the foot in mouth because you guys will say anything and you'll go, well, I was just being honest, right? Wouldn't you say that you would just like,
A little bit. I've gotten a
on the
little
boat?
more diplomatic. I told you I was going to swear, but anyway.
That's right. You did warn me and then
Little
go, and by
tiny,
the way, you're going to
little
be
tiny.
this
But
out.
I mean, and meeting you down the line, was just once I moved out here, realized I could live anywhere, went up to Ventura County, wanted to go to the beach. But when I put my website up in 1994, the commercials and everything on TV, there was a lot of ads for Psychic Friends Network and
Dionne Warwick,
Miss
right?
Cleo. Remember all those? And they were all over the place. And I realized if my website, the internet was so new, if my website's just up there, and the commercials that they paid for are being aired, they're going to look at all the psychics. So if they aired the commercials, I would start getting calls because
Wow.
of their advertising. That's how
Wow.
small the internet was. So
Wow.
I'm kind of a dinosaur in that area, but
You're a pioneer. You
it was the beginning. I miss
Hey,
those
look,
days.
the dino buddy. I'm like right your age, so stop with the elderly. oh shit, I need another bleep here. But I adore the entrepreneurial spirit, and that you just felt led. Now, I just want to talk for a second with
Yeah.
you. I'm going to ask you for something to share with the people that are watching so that
Okay.
they can develop themselves, because that is the point, because you bright lights are the stars that people can follow and go, yeah, me too. I can do that. Now, not
Yeah.
everybody can die and come back. I did not. And I have
Yeah.
my gifts, so everybody's got different gifts, right? Not everybody's
Yeah.
a medium, not everybody's a clairaudient. What would you say, like you have thousands and thousands and thousands of clients you've helped? Well, for the ones that want to wake up,
Yeah.
what kind of a tip could you give people?
Well, I would just say, always trust your gut feeling. Sometimes it's your gut feeling. Sometimes you feel it in your heart. Sometimes people get tingling in the back of their head if something's, the right way, the right choice, or, if you have a feeling like this isn't right, I shouldn't be here, or this, follow your gut instinct. It doesn't do it. It always puts you in the right direction. It may not seem like it immediately. Do you know what I mean? But in hindsight, a day or two later, you're like, I knew I shouldn't have done that, and I followed that instruction. So that basic kernel of intuition that we all have it, follow that, and listen to it. And as you listen to it, it starts to grow. It's like a muscle. It starts to grow and build and get stronger and stronger for you as an individual, and just waking up. I mean, there's different kinds of modalities. There's different decks to use, but in a general intuition sense, I'd watch your dreams, like your sleeping dreams. Those can be very leading toward intuition, or give you messages in your dreams. Anything bright and sunny, daylight in your dreams, is going to be a very auspicious, coming up, something good.
Let
Anything
me
kind of dark.
let
Yeah.
me let me just ask you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
Tamara, like let's say you're doing a reading for me right here. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
your customer. And by the way, Tamara has graciously agreed to give some of her time to our soulcentered.com. So
Yay.
we're graciously grateful to have Tamara
I'm
as
excited.
the readers. We're building a psychic line here at Soul Centered. And the fact that you go back in time to the Dionne Warwick, the Psychic Lines Network, and the Miss Cleo time. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to sit there watching these commercials,
Yeah.
and I remember once I was in a metaphysical store and somebody walked up to me and said, "Would you like to read on a psychic line?" I'm like, I'm not a psychic. But you see,
Yeah.
psychics can see the energy of people that are, like
Yeah.
it's like people are so obsessed with Harry Potter, and there's like the muggles, and then there's the people
Yes.
that, and I'm not saying that every muggle can't wake up, but they're just
Right.
so not interested.
Yeah.
If you feel this urge, like me too, I'm that superhero that's in the movies, I'm the
Yeah.
new X-Men guy, I've got this gift, I have dreams of doing things, like moving things with my
Hmm.
mind
Hmm.
or whatever. Like I know something's here, I just have to unlock it. Would you please model
Yeah.
how information comes to you, like how it feels? Like, let's say you were looking at somebody, me, whoever, and you were giving them a reading. How does this information come to you? Do you see a text?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. I do use the Rider Waite deck, but what I'm doing is I'm pulling cards on your behalf, but I'm not reading the cards that are like, this means this means that. I'm pulling it, and it's a modality for me that I figured out is I'm getting information as I go along. So if somebody's watching me, it doesn't match what I'm doing. It's just a modality. And so that clairvoyant, clairaudient thing and empath thing, that's all going on at the same time. So I'd be talking to you, Diane, and say, I'm getting, Diane, that maybe there's a little bit of a conflict coming up, but you're already aware of it, and you're kind of brainstorming ideas of how to, handle it, how to solve the problem. And there's going to be, two or three people coming in that are going to be assisting you, so I don't have any, gaps of, oh, what does this mean? Or, oh, I don't know. Or it just comes through and it's like,
It's like a feed. It's like
yeah. And
now
then also in the middle of it, we can switch to mediumship. So it's like, I'll finish the sentence. And if you don't mind, your mom is tapping on my shoulder. She wants to say hi. She's on the other side, so proud of you and that you just look beautiful. And she's just blessing you with, may this build and grow. And, your mom and dad are just, I remember, they're just there, like smiling down on you, but it's like arm in arm a little bit, like.
and so like in a specific readings, have you had instances where people like have shock value from the other side? Can you talk to that? Like somebody will say something like, wow, I never knew that, because their person has come through and given them a piece. I mean, you must have had these
Well,
experiences.
when we're on, I have beliefs about the other side. And so I believe that they're in spirit. So they don't take any of their issues. They don't take any of their addictions or problems, or, they're not magical beings that make stuff happen for us down here. They're just around in spirit. So it takes it's not a super person you have over there that can make stuff happen in your life. But I just feel like, yeah, if there's kind of, I will, being a Sagittarius, I've learned to be a little diplomatic, and I will broach a subject, but I'm not scary to read with. I don't scare people.
I wasn't
I've
even
done,
talking about scary. I'm talking about like, hey, I left something in that box under the
oh,
bed,
I see. Oh, yeah, yeah.
or
I've
something.
helped find, items, or also, sometimes I'll have people call me, go to the last, take your cell phone, call me from the last place you and your mom, who's on the other side, talked about this. Because she said, I left you something, it's kind of in this area. So go to the closest area that the last place you guys talked about it. And then and I can kind of see, like if it's, I'm located in Southern California, but people call me all over the country. So sometimes I'll describe something and I'm not, I've never been to their house. I'm not there. So somebody on the other side could be helping. I had somebody help solve a murder. He was murdered, and he wanted to come through and give a description of who murdered him, or the two people, but the one. I know that's kind of heavy, but the mother, I remember having this reading, and it was in a store, and they were all stuffed into the room. And the mother was in front of me, and the children, the siblings, were kind of around her. And then I was tuned into their brother, who was quite young when he was killed. And I did a mannerism that was like his brother, and the other brother that died, and the brother had to leave the room. He was like, and I didn't know, I didn't mean to, so, but the mother came back months later and said, I gave that description to the police department and they made an arrest. And I was kind of like, I hope it's the right person. But I mean, some of those cases can be cold, and so they're cold. They try, they do this, they do that. They don't necessarily hunt me down to help them. It used to be a thing, but that was, I call that a success.
Oh
I know
yeah.
we veered off from what you asked me.
No, no, no. This was gold. I'm
Yeah,
so grateful. That no, this episode is definitely wonderful.
yeah.
I
I,
like I said, you were my poster child, or one of a few, but definitely right in my mind for all of these years about this documentary I was going to do on
oh,
psychics, and here we are today,
we should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I'm honored to have you, and reading on soul centered, but also possibly maybe in the future teaching something or whatever
sure. Yeah, yeah.
and you're an inspiration that
Well,
you have done this all these years, like as your sole source of income. It's just amazing
well,
to
and I do parties and events, so that's just back-to-back mini readings where I do psychometry. So if somebody came in person, I'll hold a watch, a ring, or some keys, and I can do, a mini reading.
let's give your email address. You want to just call out your
Yeah,
email?
it's actually Tammy Leah, Tammy leah@yahoo.com. And then my website, which is different from Soul Center, just so you can see my background and everything, is Tamara3, the number 3.com. Because
And
my
all of
name,
this is going to be in the show notes as well. I just wanted you
okay,
to hear it audibly.
Tamara3.com. But
Yes,
I'm excited with my association with Soul Center.
I'm honored. Now,
Yeah,
the truth is that we have done this dance before. When I had
yeah,
psychic fears, you honored me by being one of my
yeah.
ladies. One of the psychic ladies of the fair. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
amazed to
Well,
be.
I remember meeting you and coming in the store, and I left you my card. And I guess my little card, my business card, back in the day of business cards, had a recognition. And you stopped what you're doing and you said, "I know this card. I know you. I know you." And you chased me out to the front where you had those beautiful benches, and we sat and talked for a number of minutes, a half hour or so. And you know, you create such a great community, and you always have, and
I
it's
hope
so welcoming, and you're just so gifted yourself, Diane, and just you
I'm
create
just
the
happy
party.
you're helping me build the island of Soul Centered online because, and by the way, she's quite a deal at soulcentered.com. Go to her website, see what she really charges. So, so it's such a deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so, but anyway, Tamara, our time is coming to a close
Okay.
this episode. I'm hoping to have you back again. Um, just delighted, just delighted.
This is so fun.
I know this is just so weird. It's like I've held this vision for so long and it's here and it's
Yeah,
now. It's like
yeah,
easy and I don't have any grips or lights or anything. It's like all the things in my mind. I was like, oh, this big production's going to cost this money. And here we are on Zoom. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Age of
It,
Aquarius.
Age of
All right.
Aquarius. Yeah,
And
this is
thank you
great.
for being such a powerful teacher because I know all these years you've helped a lot of people. So
I just, and sometimes I get some, I remember asking a teacher of mine, he was actually a performance teacher. And I said, what happens when I feel like I'm just helping people decide if they want chicken or steak for dinner? And he goes, well, that's very important. You have to get from that place to the spiritual place of really digging in and helping them. That's part of self-care. So I was like, my readings are very meaningful, even if it's something small or something bigger, because
have
it's all
helped me so
important.
much. I've had quite a few readings with you, and you have always been on point and very, very
Thank
good. So I'm honored to be in association with great talent.
you.
So on that note, thank you guys again for tuning into the Soul Centered. No, it's not. That was the old show in 2010. This is the Bright Light Show. Hello, Mercury
Yay.
retrograde. And please help me by supporting me in 3D by coming to Soul Centered, SOULCENTERED.com for your metaphysical needs, books, decks, crystals, incense, and psychics and healers. So thank you, Tamara. And thank
Thank
you
you,
guys for
Diane. It
listening.
was
And
pleasure.
oh
And
God,
just to put a plug in for you as well, she has some of these crystals that you can't find anymore, actually. And from, and beautiful specimens that, can't get out of, you can't get off her site without purchasing something. It just
is
jumps
this
out
a
at
good
you.
friend? And speaking of specimens, the two of us. Bye,
Oh,
you
you're
guys.
funny.
Until the next one.
Okay. Awesome. Thank